In a world often shaped by competition, unpredictability, and external expectations, there emerges a distinct kind of individual, referred to here as the chosen one. This term is not used lightly. It signifies a person whose life is guided by purpose, whose experiences are marked by trials that serve as preparation, and whose journey is characterized by quiet strength and unwavering resilience. From the very beginning, chosen ones tend to walk a different path. Their circumstances are rarely simple, and ease is not often granted. Instead, they move through life facing challenges that appear disproportionately difficult when compared to those around them. This is not because they are less capable, but because they are being shaped for something larger than themselves. The consistent obstacles they encounter become tools of refinement. Each hardship is not merely an inconvenience, but a precise component of their developmental process, making them more grounded, more insightful, and more prepared. As this process unfolds, the chosen one begins to understand that the struggle was not evidence of abandonment, but of alignment. The trials were not random, but rather necessary elements designed to foster strength and endurance. Over time, what once appeared as setbacks begin to make sense in retrospect. These were not failures. They were rehearsals for leadership. Despite being underestimated, dismissed, or even mocked by others, the chosen one continues forward, driven not by applause, but by a deep internal compass. This sense of internal direction is difficult to explain, yet unmistakable for those who experience it. It's a spiritual anchoring, one that doesn't rely on popularity, external validation, or traditional measures of success. The chosen one learns to navigate without a map, relying instead on faith, intuition, and conviction. This quiet certainty is often misunderstood by others. Early in their journey, chosen individuals may be met with skepticism. Their decisions might seem unconventional. Their confidence might be interpreted as arrogance. Their distance might be mistaken for detachment. But as the years progress, the clarity of their purpose becomes undeniable. The consistency of their growth and the integrity of their actions begin to reshape perception. As their journey continues, the chosen one begins to experience a shift, both spiritual and situational. What was once resistance now becomes redirection. The relationships, circumstances, and environments that once worked against them start to lose their influence. This transition is subtle at first, but soon becomes evident. Where there was once stagnation, movement begins. Where there was once opposition, there is now silence. It is not always dramatic, but it is deeply significant. This change does not occur in isolation. As the chosen one ascends, the world around them takes notice. The individuals who once overlooked or doubted them begin to reassess. It's not the result of a performance or a public display. It's the natural outcome of years of consistency, endurance, and inner transformation. Those who once sought to diminish their light are now confronted with the reality of its brightness. Importantly, this rise is not about ego. The chosen one does not view themselves as superior. Rather, they carry a sense of responsibility. With increased visibility comes increased accountability. They recognize that their growth is not just personal. It is connected to something broader. Their actions influence others. Their decisions carry weight. Their voice, once ignored, now shapes conversations. With this understanding, the chosen one becomes more deliberate. They begin to move with intention, knowing that their presence alone influences outcomes. This influence is not forced. It emerges naturally from their integrity, clarity, and purpose. They don't seek to dominate, but to serve. Not to impress, but to impact. The chosen one's journey continues with new layers of complexity. As they rise, they are met with new challenges, not from scarcity, but from abundance. The question is no longer, will I survive, but how do I lead with integrity? They are tasked not with finding their path, but with staying true to it amidst distractions, recognition, and growing expectations. As this transformation deepens, the chosen one becomes a reflection of spiritual resilience. Their strength is no longer questioned, it is recognized. The world begins to see that what once looked like luck was actually endurance. What once appeared to be coincidence was alignment. And what once seemed like failure was the beginning of redefinition. This recognition leads to a powerful moment, one of collective acknowledgement. It is not a moment of arrogance or superiority. It is a moment of clarity, a recognition that the chosen one's path, though difficult, was always meaningful. The people, systems, and energies that once opposed them begin to reposition themselves, not out of obligation, but out of respect for what has become undeniable. In this stage, something profound occurs. The chosen one no longer seeks permission. They are not waiting for an invitation. They understand their role, and they begin to embody it fully. They speak less, act more intentionally, and carry themselves with a grounded presence that cannot be fabricated. The rise of the chosen one is not loud or theatrical. It is steady, sure, and marked by a deep alignment between inner purpose and external reality. It signals the beginning of influence that extends far beyond personal gain. Their very existence becomes a point of reflection for others, prompting those around them to consider their own purpose, potential, and path. As we close this first part of the journey, one truth stands out clearly. The chosen one did not arrive here by accident. They were not elevated by chance. Their story is not one of sudden fame or external recognition alone. It is a culmination of years of unseen work, internal growth, and spiritual refinement. As the chosen one steps into a new chapter, marked by recognition and responsibility, a natural evolution begins to take shape. Their journey, which has largely unfolded in silence and solitude, now moves into a phase of visibility. But with increased visibility comes a more complex challenge: navigating influence without compromising integrity. Leadership for the chosen one is not defined by traditional power structures or titles. Rather, it is demonstrated through consistency of action, moral clarity, and unwavering purpose. They do not seek to lead through force or dominance. Instead, their authority stems from alignment between who they are, what they believe, and how they behave. This authenticity is their greatest asset, especially in a world often driven by superficial measures of success. One of the most distinct characteristics of this phase is the way in which resistance begins to take new forms. In earlier seasons, the chosen one faced external obstacles, people, systems, and situations that appeared immovable. But now, the more significant challenges come from within. The struggle shifts toward maintaining focus, resisting complacency, and making choices that reflect their higher calling. The weight of influence can be subtle. Opportunities increase. Voices grow louder. Expectations mount. And in that space, the chosen one must remain grounded. They are reminded that their path is not simply about upward movement, but about staying anchored in purpose even when advancement is possible in multiple directions. Each decision becomes a point of reflection. Does this align with the reason I was chosen? In the process, discernment becomes vital. The chosen one must differentiate between what is good and what is purposeful, between what is popular and what is aligned. They begin to realize that not every invitation is meant to be accepted. Not every door is meant to be walked through, and not every crowd is meant to be followed. Clarity of purpose allows them to focus on long-term impact over short-term gain. What also becomes apparent is that the journey of the chosen one is no longer about personal victory. It becomes about collective elevation. Their rise creates space for others to rise. Their visibility creates courage in others who have been quietly waiting for confirmation that they too can step into more. In this way, the chosen one becomes a mirror for others. Not because they have everything figured out, but because they model what it looks like to walk with authenticity in a world that often values conformity. The chosen one is now living proof that adversity does not invalidate a calling. Instead, it sharpens it. The seasons of isolation, failure, and doubt were never wasted. They were the training ground. And now, others can look at the chosen one and understand that transformation is not only possible, it's necessary. Importantly, the chosen one learns to redefine success. In this new phase, success is no longer measured by accolades or milestones. Instead, it is reflected in alignment, peace, and legacy. They begin to ask different questions. Is this sustainable? Is this building something meaningful? Is this empowering others? These questions become the foundation of their influence. They shift from simply seeking outcomes to cultivating environments, spaces where growth, healing, and innovation can occur. Their leadership becomes less about control and more about stewardship. They understand that they are not owners of their influence, but caretakers of something much larger than themselves. Another notable change is the deepened sense of purpose that now permeates even mundane tasks. The chosen one recognizes that their presence alone can shift dynamics. A conversation, a decision, or even silence becomes a tool of influence. This level of awareness requires emotional maturity and a willingness to be misunderstood. Not everyone will agree with their methods. Not everyone will see the value in their vision. And yet, the chosen one continues, not out of pride, but out of purpose. It is in these moments that humility becomes the chosen one's greatest companion. They understand that their rise was never about self-promotion, but about divine positioning. They did not arrive here on their own strength, and that truth keeps them centered. It reminds them that the goal was never applause. It was alignment. At this stage, the chosen one also begins to reconcile with their past. They can now see how every delay was protection. Every closed door was redirection. Every moment of rejection was preparation. The people who misunderstood them, the seasons that left them in silence, and the moments of collapse, they all contributed to the person they are now. Forgiveness becomes easier, not because the pain didn't matter, but because the perspective has shifted. The chosen one no longer sees themselves as a victim of their story. They see themselves as an agent of transformation. Their past no longer defines them. It informs them. As their influence expands, so does their responsibility to protect their energy. Boundaries become essential, not to create distance, but to preserve focus. The chosen one understands that not everyone can walk with them in this new chapter. Some were only meant to accompany them for a season. And that's not a sign of failure. It's a sign of growth. In their quiet moments, the chosen one reflects on how far they've come. The battles that once seemed insurmountable now appear as distant landmarks. And yet, they carry those experiences with them, not as baggage, but as evidence. Proof that transformation is possible. That purpose is stronger than pain. That clarity can emerge from confusion. They no longer fear being different. They embrace it. What once made them feel isolated now becomes their strength. Their uniqueness is not a defect. It's a design. a design that allows them to operate at a frequency others may not understand, but many will feel. As we conclude this account, one central theme emerges. The Chosen One's rise is not about domination, it's about contribution. Their story is not a spotlight on one person, but a blueprint for many. A roadmap for those who wonder if their struggle has meaning, if their difference has value, and if their purpose is real. To those who may find themselves resonating with this journey, take note. The signs are not always loud. The confirmation may not come in crowds. But the truth of being chosen is not in how many believe it. It's in how clearly you live it. The world may not always understand the Chosen One, but the world is undeniably changed by them. If this message awakened something within you, it's not by accident. It's divine alignment. You're not just watching, you're being called. So don't scroll past, like comment 111 to confirm your awakening, and subscribe for more powerful messages made just for the Chosen Ones. Share this with someone who needs to remember who they are. Every step you take now is part of your rise. This is your time, your moment, and your confirmation. Keep walking in faith, because destiny is already unfolding. Your journey isn't over. It's just getting started. Welcome to your power. Chosen One. If this message stirred your spirit, it's because your time is now. Don't let this moment pass you by. Like, comment, I'm ready,